thank you all for joining us.
And they just keep on coming.
They keep on coming.
So yeah, all of you on Facebook Live, you might not have seen that we are doing this on Zoom also. So
yeah, so if you want to participate and be able to talk more than just in the comment section, you can hop on the Zoom link that we sent out yesterday in the agenda, as well as Monday in the weekly update. So otherwise, it's okay just to eavesdrop on Facebook Live as well.
That's fine too. I'm trying to find a way to toggle through this without.
Move our screen, but
yeah, it's not working. I have to do it this way. So anyway, and what's it look like? So we do have us over there. Yep. Sorry about that. We've got that over there. So it's not really justified the way I want to see it. So I don't know why.
There we go.
I don't know. Yeah, but then I have to move it. Anyway,
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
So yeah, let's welcome our new agent.
Welcome our new agent. And we got several new agents right there. And you know what? I'm going to let, oops, enter. Come on in. I'm going to unmute you guys and you can introduce yourselves. And I say, I'm going to do that. Then I hit the more, and then we find.
That might not be a good idea.
That was a great idea. It's like, no, where's unmute everybody. Too many things going on.
So yeah, our next slide, we do have faces of the new agents. So let's just go ahead.
So just wave, wave. So we got Karen Beisner and Samantha Stevens and Clavina Mensa, and we've got April Norris. So anyway,
thanks you
welcome.
Guys. We're excited to have you.
Glad you're here. And then we see new faces that maybe haven't been to a meeting for a while. We had an in-person meeting last month, which was really fun to see you guys all in person. And we're just kind of in that still weird in that world flex. I mean, Boulder is like shut down, but then I saw college football games with 90,000 students.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're just kind of taking your lead, whatever you guys are feeling comfortable with, trying to keep a hybrid, you know, a way that you guys can interact and get the industry information that you need. And virtual, a lot of you guys are saying, hey, I don't have to get in the car, I don't have to drive, I can do it in between appointments. So yeah, we'll do our best.
Yeah, do our best. So thank you for the referrals, obviously. That's where most people come. Join us from just word of mouth. So thanks, Carrie, for referring Anish, and Wes for Karen, and Caitlin referred Candace. So greatly appreciate that. Oh, where are they?
So we have them in our Zoom gallery right now. That's two of the faces that we had in there. So yeah, we've got Kim, who is our relationship manager over at RA Colorado, and then I'll have her introduce her partner in crime this morning.
And just making sure that we're not doing.
Nope. She's got her own presentation.
Excellent.
So,
okay,
yeah,
so we'll bring on Kim.
Get her unmuted.
RA Colorado. Let me stop my share. And
we're going to turn over controls.
Great. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we gotcha.
We gotcha.
Okay, perfect. Hello. Yes, I am Kim Ayer. I'm your new business relationship manager at RA Colorado. And then Amy Todd is my partner in crime from the product team. So we're going to be giving you a sneak peek. I can just share my screen of Broker Bay. Oops, it looks like I need to be
so yeah, we'll give you a
enabled.
All right, you should be good to go.
Okay, great. All right, let me get this in. Okay, there we go. Does everybody see that?
Yeah, we got it.
We're
on
good.
This end.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, great. So like I said, I'm Kim Ayer, and this morning we are going to be covering how the RA Colorado Broker Bay partnership was formed. Then I'll give you a quick overview of all the great features that Broker Bay offers. We'll go over the next steps for the onboarding process, and then I'll wrap up and let you know where you can find more information on Broker Bay. So our partnership with Broker Bay is the first time we've had an enterprise level deal with a showing management service. So we're very excited. During the selection process, we reviewed close to 20 different showing services because we wanted to make sure that the product we selected met the high standards that we have for all of our products and services at RA Colorado. And we also wanted to make sure that we were going with a proven full service showing management system. Our goal with this enterprise deal is to provide a common tool, not only for RE Colorado subscribers, but all real estate professionals across the state so that everybody can be as efficient as possible. And the best part about Broker Bay is that it's included with your RE Colorado subscription. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into our sneak peek. This is the agent dashboard. It's the first thing you'll see when you sign into Broker Bay. It provides a streamlined view of all of your listing information and lets you know if any actions need to be taken. On the left side of this screen, you will see the desktop version. And on the right side of the screen, you'll see the mobile app version. So as we go through these slides, you'll be able to compare those two versions. So back over here on the left side of the desktop screen, you will see a widget for your listings. This is where all of your listing information is integrated from RE Colorado Matrix. Next, you have a section for your appointments. This is for both the buyer and the listing side. Then we have a section for your tasks. This is where you're going to see when a listing needs to be configured or if an appointment's been requested. And then finally, at the top, you've got a section for your team, and that's where you can chat with all of the people from your brokerage and other brokerages. And down at the bottom, we have a section for your contacts. This is where you're going to add not only your clients, but any vendors associated with the listings. That could be carpet cleaners, painters, or roofers. Next, we have a section for your brokerage. And this is where all the listings for your brokerage will be housed. So you can stay up to date with what your colleagues are working on, and you can be aware of any open houses that are coming up. And that open house tab is at the top there, right next to listings. The third and last thing I wanted to point out on this slide is that there's also a haves and wants message board that's available within Broker Bay that lets you let your colleagues know if you are looking for something specific. So that could be a certain vendor or maybe even a rental property in Denver. A lot of people right now use, I think, private Facebook groups for this or Slack. So it's really nice that this is integrated within Broker Bay. Next, we have the admin dashboard. So if you're out on the road and you don't have access to your phone or you need emergency help setting up showings, your admin has access to this dashboard. On the right here, we have the admin queue, and everything that's highlighted in red just shows when an action needs to be taken. So if you need an appointment to be approved or a listing to be configured, your admin can jump in here and help you out. Next, we have listing configuration. And this is what you'll need to do every time you have a new showing to set up within Broker Bay. It's where you'll set your minimum showing notice and your maximum showing duration, which are over here on the left. Maximum showing duration has 3 different time increments: 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and 1 hour. And so if you have an entry-level listing, you might want to set that maximum showing duration for 15 minutes because you'll have a lot of potential buyers. On the other hand, if you have a land listing or a luxury property, you might want to set that maximum duration in an hour so that your clients have an opportunity to see all of the features. And then just underneath there, you'll see that there's a toggle on and off switch where you can add if you want to allow double bookings. Next, over to the right, this is where you'll add who should approve your showings. So if your clients are spouses or a landlord and a tenant, or even parents with a teenager who's home from school, you can add all of those people here and then any notes that are applicable. Something that's not on this slide that I wanted to mention is that Broker Bay also offers a great calendar function that allows you to select the date and time when showings are either available or not available. So if you have parents who are getting their kids ready for school in the morning during the weekdays and they don't want their place shown before 9 a.m., you can block those times out in Broker Bay. If, on the other hand, they're okay with their place being shown from 9 to 5 while they're at work, you can make those times available within Broker Bay. So back to this slide, over to the right under showing agent instructions, this is where you have your lockbox integrations. Broker Bay is integrated with Supra, SentryLock, and Master Lock, making it really easy for you to assign codes and lockboxes without going to multiple systems. It's all right here within Broker Bay. Another great feature under this lockbox section is if you've ever gone to a condo or high rise and seen a bunch of lockboxes out front, Broker Bay allows you to take a picture of your lockbox, upload it to the system, and then circle it. So there's no confusion about which one's yours.
That's cool.
Then finally, over to the right, there's a feature where you can add if you should turn off the lights, remove your shoes, or add any other instructions from your seller. This is what your listing view looks like. It provides all the details that are integrated from RE Colorado Matrix, and that's including photos. One thing I did want to point out on this slide is the integration with Matterport Tours. So this allows you to tour the property online in real time with your client. So you can walk them over to the kitchen to show them the cabinets, and then your client can actually take over control and talk with you as you both walk to the backyard to check out the landscaping. This is what your MLS booking experience looks like within Matrix. On the left side, you're going to see that desktop version with the blue Broker Bay icon will be right there in your single line display. And then over to the right, you'll see that blue Broker Bay icon is under your main listing photo in the larger version within Matrix. Some brokers may decide that they want to continue using showing time. And if that is the case, then you'll see that showing time icon in place of the Broker Bay icon. And you'll see we have an example of this over on the left in that single line display. And then finally on the right, I just wanted to mention, if you have not already downloaded the RE Colorado app, we strongly encourage you to do so. It allows you to have all of your listing information at your fingertips, and you can approve showings right from your phone. Listing feedback is a great way to get information from your buyer's agent. So if you have a client with a property that has a kitchen that might need to be remodeled, or maybe there's a crack in the sidewalk out front that needs to be repaired, that's information that you can get from your buyer's agent to share with your client and hopefully avoid some of those potentially difficult conversations. Next, we have the seller dashboard. So within Broker Bay, there's a dashboard for brokers and there's a dashboard for sellers. The seller dashboard makes it really easy for your sellers to go in and approve those appointments. And you'll see what that looks like on the left. In the center, you'll see how you can, your sellers can toggle on and off if they want to have certain notifications. So if they want to know if their property has been booked, confirmed, canceled, denied, or if there's been a time change, they can just toggle those on and off and be notified below however they'd like. So that's by email, text message, or SMS message through the app. One other great feature in the seller dashboard is they can integrate all of their appointments with their personal calendars, whether those calendars are on Google, Outlook, or iCloud. Next, we have broker chat. And this is a way that you can chat with brokers in your own brokerage or other brokerages. So say you want to let somebody know that there's been a price change on the property, or maybe you're running late for an appointment. Those are great messages that you can just share in this chat. You can have up to 20 different users in a chat, and all users will be notified by text message, SMS message within the app, or email, depending on what their communication preferences are that they've set up within their own version of the app. And all messages will be saved within your account. Another great communication tool within Broker Bay is that you can message all of your showing agents at once. So again, if you want to let them know that there's a price change, you can either use a pre-built custom, or you can use a pre-built message template, or you can create your own custom template using these blue smart fields that you'll see at the bottom here. How those smart fields work is you would take the contact information for all of those showing agents, put it in your email, and then you can just drag and drop those blue smart fields. And they'll let you do things like add the listing photo, you can add the listing address, you can even add a button that links directly to all of your listing information. So you don't have to look that up every single time. You can just message everyone at once. It's a real great time saver. And no real estate tool would be complete without market analytics. And Broker Bay has a very robust set. It allows you to see market trends. You can compare your farm areas, and you can get real-time data about your showings. Does anybody have any questions before I go through the onboarding process?
I think there's one question that came in on Facebook Live, and Great. It is, how do we choose Broker Bay versus showing time in the MLS?
So that is going to be up to the you as the managing broker to decide if you would like to have both services offered. If you decide that you want to go entirely with Broker Bay, that will be the option that you have at the end of setting up your listing.
Perfect.
That makes sense. Okay,
yes,
great.
Thank you.
Okay, great. If there aren't any other questions, I'll just jump right into this onboarding process. So to begin, the managing broker claims your office, which has already been done in your case. So next we have the onboarding process, and that is going to begin this fall. That's where you will get trained on the system. You'll learn how to configure all of your listings as you saw in that slide before. You'll learn how to use all of those processes, and you'll be paired with a Broker Bay onboarding specialist during the onboarding process, and they'll walk you through any details or questions you may have. And then once all of those listings have been configured and all those trainings have been taken and you reach your launch date, that's when you'll start to see that blue Broker Bay icon in your Matrix display. So after you reach the launch point, that's when you'll be able to reach out to RE Colorado customer care, as you always do if you have any additional questions. Our training team is also working on a very in-depth training for Broker Bay, so stay tuned for more information about that within the coming months. And if you'd like more information about Broker Bay prior to the onboarding process, you'll find it here. We put together a ton of information, be it blog posts and flyers and videos and social posts. So if you'd like to access this information, just go to your Connect dashboard and click on the blue Broker Bay button that's there on your Connect dashboard. It has a little coming soon ribbon on it right now. And that'll take you to a web page that houses all of this great information. And finally, just a reminder that we have a fantastic customer care team that's available to you 6 days a week. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to them and they'd be happy to help. And that wraps up my presentation. So if anybody has any other questions, just let me know.
You see that question up there, Kate, Kim?
Oh, sorry, in the chat.
Central lock, 1-day codes generated automatically when a buyer's agent schedules a showing.
Amy, is that something you could answer? If not, I can.
Sure, yeah, happy to jump in. I believe so. I'm not super familiar with how SentryLock works. I obviously haven't used it myself, but I'm pretty sure that they're automatically generated when they're set up. But Kim and I will take that back and we'll get a firm answer on that for you.
Yeah, I'm just writing it down.
And
all right.
The other questions from Katie says, if someone wants to set a showing with a phone call, would that be possible?
So all of the communication tools that we've covered today, so that's the text messages, the SMS messages through the app, and the emails, those are all included with your RE Colorado subscription, and they are built to be very user-friendly and intuitive. So that hopefully you would not need that call center, but I will get more information on that and then share it with Stacy and Todd for you. Let me get back to you on that.
Perfect, thank you.
Sure. Were there any other questions?
No, I think that was it. Someone had asked on Facebook Live if there will be training classes, but you ended up hitting that saying once it's launched this fall, then you're going to have that robust training system. So I think that was
absolutely, yes.
Only other question we had, but this is very impressive. It's very comprehensive.
Oh, great.
We really appreciate you taking the time to walk us through and to give us the sneak peek at it.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. We're really excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't wait to share more with you.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, this is neat. It'll be fun to see this roll out.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks,
We
Amy.
appreciate your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, it's just nice to have multiple options.
Yeah, definitely.
For showing services.
Oh, let me enter, admit. All right, so we've got how to make a buyer's offer attractive in today's competitive market. We keep getting lots of questions. I mean, we've been talking about this for several years.
Yeah, I mean, the market's been real competitive and pretty hot for the last couple of years, but I think this is a topic that we continue to get a lot of questions on the support line about. We tell you all the time that we read every single survey, closed transaction survey that comes across, and we are getting a lot of agents saying, hey, we'd like to learn more about contracts and specifically what can we do to give our buyer a leg up against these multiple offer scenarios? Because even though the market is cooling off just a touch, we're still seeing a very competitive environment out there.
And I don't like the word cooling.
Well, yeah.
Going from, as we say, from boiling to simmering, it's still hot, but not quite as crazy as you guys have obviously seen.
Yeah.
We're not getting 30 offers on something, we're getting 3 offers.
Exactly.
5 offers.
Yeah, and things may not be selling in the first day. It's taking 3 to 4 days. For those of you that reviewed the August statistics that came out through DMAR, days on market did go up. In August, everything else went down. Average sales price went down, median sales price went down, sales went down, active listings went down. So everything is trending down with the exception of days on market. Those did go up from, I think it was 9 last month or July to 11. So it's still a very swift pace.
So as Paul always does, he'll send a review recap of the meeting. I've got up on the screen right now the first 5 of our ideas, but we're going to go through them, but I'm going to go back to not screen sharing so you can actually see us.
Yeah, so you will get an email. You won't have to take notes unless you want to. You will get an email with this entire PDF. This is actually, most of this information is on Elevate, and you can download it in a PDF form. We pulled the majority of the content just straight off of our how to write a competitive offer on Elevate, but we want to give some additional tips and tricks in today's session. So I think we'll just jump right in.
Jump in.
Okay, and then feel free to ask questions as we go. We want to keep this very interactive so that we can hit everything that you guys need today. One of our #1 tips is to call the listing agent before you write the offer.
It sounds basic.
And some of these are going to be very intuitive and you're going to say, what's the magic bullet? Yeah. But picking up the phone and calling that agent, one, to see, are there multiple offers on the property? When's the offer acceptance deadline, if there is one? And what are certain circumstances that maybe the seller has that weren't outlined in the MLS that are going to be really helpful in giving you an edge in writing that offer? If someone says they do not want to move out of the home on the closing date and need a post-closing occupancy, if you don't structure an offer that way, you're probably going to get shuffled to the bottom. So there's several probing questions that you can ask. And don't be hesitant to say, what would we need to do in order to rise above the offers you currently have? Some agents will tell you, I've got an offer at this price. I've got an offer with these terms. You need to beat those. So call the listing agent.
Pick up the phone.
Ask questions.
It sounds basic, but it really isn't, because we have a lot of people, oh, I've just been texting and email.
Yeah, call them.
Yeah.
Part of getting an offer accepted is building rapport with that other agent beforehand. So tip #2, in a multiple offer situation, probably gonna have to bid over asking price.
Again, sounds simple, but there are clients out there, I won't say agents, but clients that refuse or don't want to, and they have to lose 1 or 2 or 3 homes before they figure out this market is an above asking price market. And when you hear an agent or a client say, I want a deal, do you want a home or do you want a deal? You know, had you bought the home a year ago, you probably would have had a deal today. So getting a home, that's the #1 thing. So you might have to, you will have to offer over asking. What are we at right now?
So for August, we were at 102. It dropped. July was still 103.9. So roughly 104 over asking price. It's 102.5 right now. So we did drop a 1.5%. But I think it's, key to educate your buyers, present them with the statistics. It's not that you're sharing your opinion, in order to get this house, you're going to have to, in my opinion, you have to offer over asking price. Show them the data. The data doesn't lie. So statistics are key. Tip #3.
Keep the contingency deadlines short.
And what do we mean by that?
You want to make things move quickly so that the earnest money, as we kind of say, it goes hard sooner. It's non-refundable quicker. So if you can get past those contingencies within the first few weeks, then you're not hanging out the seller to dry 45 days if it's a 30 to 45 day closing and they're wondering if this is going to really happen. Get those contingencies going, and that'll make the seller feel real confident that your client is totally serious and committed to purchasing the home.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a listing agent, would you rather see an offer come through that has a 5-day inspection period rather than a 10-day inspection period? Because most of the time, if something's going to go awry, it happens at inspection or it happens at appraisal. So if we can get those things done quicker, the ability to make it further in that process without having to put the home back on the market is much higher.
and you listing agents, you're aware, you're looking at those dates. You know, you're not letting a buyer's agent be sneaky by leaving the insurance deadline, property insurance deadline, you know, out there 30 days. They can get this stuff figured out much quicker, and that's you protecting your seller, and that's on a buyer's side, making things go quick and showing the commitment of your buyer.
Exactly. So while we're talking about commitment, the next tip would be increasing the earnest money above and beyond what the seller is asking for. And I think we have seen in recent months and even this past year, earnest money amounts are a lot higher than they used to be. Yes, prices of homes are a lot higher, but it used to be around 1% of the sales price would kind of be the earnest money. Now we're seeing $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 earnest monies on $500,000 homes, because it kind of, if you would, weeds out the riffraff. You know, we want these serious buyers that can afford to front up a good, solid earnest money. So say there's an $8,000 earnest money, maybe you move that to 10, 12, 15. It shows commitment, it shows seriousness. Next tip would be make sure the buyer's pre-approved, not pre-qualified. There's a big, big difference in having that buyer pre-approved, and the key is with a local lender.
Yeah, that's huge. You guys know that we have special rules here. We have, you know, good funds, meaning
yeah, Colorado's a
we
good
got the check at closing, not escrow. And if you're dealing with an online lender, they might not know our rules. It's just so much better to have a local lender, and that local lender, and we're going to say number 6, the local lender actually picks up the phone and will call the listing agent and sell your client. Let them know how strong of a buyer they are, that they are pre-approved, which means you just got to find a house and get an appraisal, and you've got the loan. We have done all the numbers. We have got the verifications. There's no contingency on that loan other than a house and an appraisal.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the big things that you want to relay and articulate to the other agent when you are submitting an offer. Hey, my buyer's pre-approved. And what that means is their pay stubs, bank statements, and tax returns have all been reviewed, because not everybody sends out, there's automatic underwriting pre-approvals where they collect documents, but don't actually dive into the details of those documents. So making sure that the lender has actually looked at that stuff and hasn't seen any red flags just makes your offer, your buyer's offer, look that much more strong. But the local lender thing, you know, I've had a lot of buyers that come and say, well, I've got my own lender and they're in Chicago. And it's like, great, but do they know how to do loans in Colorado? Well, they say they've done lots of loans in Colorado. I'd say 90% of the phone calls that come in on our support line where there's an issue with the loan, 90% of them are working with an out-of-state lender. Very, very few times do we have an issue with a loan on the day of closing with a local lender. It happens, but I'm just telling you, majority, even though that local lender might think they know how it works, there's just some nuances. So encourage your buyers to stick local.
I'm going to do an exclamation mark on that, actually, because, you know, sometimes you get these lenders that are referred from a friend. My friend had a good refi. My friend, okay, your friend has had 1, maybe 2 transactions in their entire life, and their reference point of what good is might not be our reference point of what good is. When we have done hundreds, if not thousands of transactions over the years, we know what to expect. And our good friend Paul there, I remember his very first home that he was referred from his brother, a lender. I'm like, Paul, what's your brother know about a good lender?
Well, I mean, he used this person.
Yeah, I'm sure he thought it was a good, and it might have been great.
Yeah.
But compared to people that we've used, and I think, you know, we had Dave Marcus back then, we had Rebecca Hansen back then, and obviously we have Amir now with our company, but that's when we've done hundreds of transactions. And when we refer someone, it's like, there's a lot more to it than it was a good interest rate or he sent me a nice gift. I mean, what's the reference point? So that is your guys' job, is helping your clients understand the importance of a good local lender who you've used. night and day. Young and naive.
Yeah. And I mean, that is one of the values of being in real estate, is being able to connect your buyers with good vendors in general, just title companies, lenders, home inspectors. I mean, they really, really do lean on you for this advice because they don't know what they don't know when it comes to these things. So yeah, local lender is important. And like we said, our next tip, which Todd briefly talked about, was having the lender call the listing agent. And, it doesn't seem like something that can be that impactful, but when you're on the listing side and you have 12 offers that come in on a home and you get one lender that calls and says, hey, I want to let you know this buyer has good income, very solid employment. During the pandemic, sometimes we're a little bit worried about those last minute employment verifications. You can rest assured this is not going to be a problem. And I want to let you know that the buyer's agent representing this buyer, top notch, great with communication. So if you can have that lender not only promote the buyer, but if you have a relationship with that lender and they can promote you as well in that phone call, it just blends it all together nicely. Because as a listing agent and a seller, you really want to work with someone that's going to advocate for a smooth transaction.
So
Question?
Samantha says, any suggestions on local lenders? So obviously we do have our in-house.
We have an in-house mortgage company.
Own Home Loans. Amir Razi is the president. Reach out to him. He's amazing. But on our vendor list, which you can find on Facebook, you can go to the files and we have a vendor list. We have multiple names of lenders that we have all used in the past. And I threw out a couple of names there real quick of people that we have personally referred, Dave Marcus and Rebecca Hansen, and there's multiple on that lender sheet. But definitely our own company, Amir, is amazing. And I'm not saying that national lenders aren't good or they can't get the job done. If you have a relationship, that's great. If you don't have a relationship, there's just not much control you have. And this is a business of control and selling your client. And when you have that hands-on and you use people, this is giving you a leg up. That's what we're trying to help you here with, is how can you outshine others?
Yeah, exactly. So the next tip is being mindful of the inclusions and exclusions that have been outlined in the MLS. And I think that's another question that you should actually pose to the listing agent when you do that pre-offer phone call. Are there any specific inclusions or exclusions that I need to make sure are noted in this contract? Because if you, again, have 3, 4, 5 offers coming in and the seller says, I specifically want to take my beautiful fridge that I just purchased 6 months ago, and your buyer writes that in as an inclusion, there's a good chance you're not going to get a counter offer. You're going to get shuffled to the bottom, and they're just going to move on to the next person that actually wrote in the inclusions and exclusions the way they wanted it done. Oftentimes we just don't get second chances. And so that's why we want you guys to pay really, really close attention to these little details. Another tip that I don't see used very often, but can be leveraged nicely, is to offer to pay the title insurance policy. So in Colorado, title insurance is typically a seller paid cost. Depending on the purchase price of the home, it can be thousands of dollars. And that is just another thing that, when you look at sellers' closing costs, the two major costs that a seller has when they sell a home: realtor commissions and title insurance policy. So if you can help alleviate one of those and say, Mr. Seller, we're going to let you choose the title company, but the buyer is going to absorb that $1,500, that $2,200 title insurance policy, that just raises the net proceeds at the end of the day for the seller. So maybe you don't have to go higher in the purchase price, but you do some of these other things that is going to make their bottom line reflect higher.
How much would that be about?
For a title insurance policy?
Yeah.
So I've got my handy dandy pocket rate card. I don't know if it's white, so you probably can't see it.
You're good. I didn't even like to do that out there. I didn't see you had it over there.
I did. So your question was actually perfect. All the title companies have their rates posted online. I like these pocket rate cards because I literally put it in my purse or I put it in my buyer's packet. This one happens to be Stewart Title. We have Land Title, Heritage Title. All of the big ones have these cool little cards that you can just schlep around with you. This one is a couple of years old. But for example, on a $600,000 house, which is our average price point right now in Denver, we're looking at $2,300. And of course, that can vary. If they bought the home within the last 5 years, they get what's called a reissue rate, where the policy is a little bit less expensive. But $2,500, I mean, that's something.
That's substantial.
If you're looking at a $260,000, say, condo, you're probably going to be closer to that $1,300–1,400 range. So just to give you
awesome
a feel for that. So next tip.
Number 9, we've got leverage a large down payment. What do you mean by leveraging a down payment?
So if you have a buyer that is going to put down 20%, 40%, maybe more than that on a home, leverage that. Right now, money's really cheap. And so oftentimes buyers say, I'd rather go with a minimal down payment and, use that money in the stock market or, make improvements to the house. But if you have a buyer that's going to be putting down a large down payment, it helps show financial strength.
Yeah. We talk about how do you compete with a cash offer, and we've got a pretty good video, I believe, on YouTube still about how you can make a conventional loan offer just as competitive as cash, truly, if not more competitive. And part of that starts with having a large down payment, which will allow you to do some things that might come up in a transaction when they're not right on the edge of, if something comes up, an inspection item that we can't take care of as a buyer, or an appraisal issue that comes up that we can't take care of because we're right on the thin line. Having that large down payment really allows that buyer to be more flexible in making some decisions that, they want to move forward regardless of some things that might come up.
Yeah, you typically don't have income to debt issues that you're up against, things like that. So yeah, if someone's going to have a large down payment, make sure you really highlight that in your offer notes or in the conversation that you have with the listing agent. Hey, this client's putting 30% down. And it just, when you're comparing two offers side by side and one's putting 3.5% down and one's putting 30% down and all the other terms are identical, why wouldn't you go with a more down?
Yeah.
So let's see, what are we on?
Number 11.
Number 10.
Oh, 10.
Be flexible on closing and possession. If the buyer has the ability to be flexible, make sure you articulate that. Hey, we put in this closing date, which I think is your preferred closing date, but if we need to move that up or back, we are flexible. And we do have a pre-written clause in our sample contract on Elevate with language that's already been written out for that. So feel free to utilize that, but just showing that you have flexibility. And even if it's mid-transaction, communicating that, hey, if there's anything that changes with the seller's ability to move into their next house or their out-of-state move and we got to finagle some things, just know that we're going to have that flexibility for you by choosing us as your buyer.
Simple enough.
Yep. Number 11.
Number 11, offer a post-closing occupancy agreement. Again, giving the seller the flexibility to stay in the home after closing. Maybe they haven't found a property, or maybe it's a new construction and they need, whether it's a week or 60 days, being flexible and having that post-occupancy agreement. And then you can negotiate on the post-occupancy agreement. Are you going to, back in the days when it wasn't crazy busy like this, it was commonplace that the seller would be paying
daily rent,
in accordance with what the new loan is. That was very typical. Now we're seeing people say, go ahead, stay for a week for free, stay for 30 days for free, or maybe something that's very reasonable. Don't forget, you have to have it in writing. You have to have your post-occupancy agreement. You should definitely take a security deposit, all that kind of stuff. But being flexible with that post-occupancy is very important, especially in a crazy market like this.
Yeah, because you probably have sellers that say, I don't want to put an offer on a home until I've got my home under contract because we want to know logistics of moving. But in order to do that, we're going to need to stay in our house. And so, yeah, just having that post-closing occupancy agreement can potentially be a reason why your buyer's offer would get chosen over another offer that doesn't offer that. So offer tip number 12. Avoid home sale contingencies
avoid
if possible. I mean, if your buyer has a home that they first have to sell, there are a few occasions when you can get the seller to accept your buyer's offer with a contingency. If you're past inspection, appraisal, maybe really close to the closing date. But oftentimes it's better to try and figure out how you can get your buyer's house on the market, under contract, closed, and either get a post-closing occupancy for them to rent back and then they buy the next house, or they move out, move into an apartment, move into a rental home, just so they have that cash ready to go. Because if there's that contingency, the seller is thinking, what happens if that house doesn't close? Domino effect. I'd rather move forward with a buyer that doesn't have a contingency if I have the opportunity to. Anything you want to add on that?
No, that's,
No.
I really
not
never
to.
like those. Yeah, regardless of the market, it just really muddies the water.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to buy something, be ready to buy, be ready to move forward. Obviously things can come up, but that domino thing can just really mess a lot of people up.
Yeah, it definitely can.
13 is don't rush. Don't rush.
Don't rush.
When drafting your contract to buy and sell. Dot every I, cross every T, mistakes matter, and your minor oversights could cost your buyers the home. So
this is Paul and my tip. We review a lot of contracts through the support line, and we're so grateful that you guys send them to us. But this hasn't happened with any of our agents, but in being on a listing agent, I've seen contracts come through on my listings where people like blatantly don't fill out paragraphs or miss 15 of the check boxes throughout the contract. And my sellers have always said, if they can't even fill out a contract right and you have to counter with all of these corrections, how are we to know that they're not going to overlook the inspection deadline, that they're not going to accidentally blow through something in the contract and then say, oh, we didn't do this? Or, I mean, how can you guarantee that they're not going to pay close attention to those things? So don't be sloppy, guys.
Your professionalism really, really does matter. Mm-hmm. Not just from a legal standpoint, but from getting your client got home. And like Stacey said, you guys do an amazing job, but always, always, always double check, triple check.
Triple check.
It's easy to miss a little thing, and a little thing can be a big thing.
Yep, because oftentimes, like we've mentioned earlier, you're not going to get a second chance. Someone's just going to say, well, this offer did it correctly. I don't want to have to take the time to counter. I'd rather just accept this one because it was done clean. So.
I'm going to date myself. I remember way back when, before we had all the computer generated transactions, and you had to either handwrite them or type them. And I typed all mine because I still have horrible handwriting. But having it typed out and receiving one that was nice and clean versus somebody scribbling making them, it's the same thing. Having a very accurate contract, nicely put together, is just very important. Turn it in with, here's my pre-approval letter, approval letter. Yeah. Just being.
Yeah, and you can be a brand new agent who's drafting their very first contract, and in the eyes of the listing agent, you will look like a seasoned professional because they'll be like, wow, yeah, this contract is clean. Where they review a contract that is missing, 15 different things. And it's like, gosh, is this person brand new? And you find out they've been in the business for 22 years. It's like, how do you miss this stuff? So.
Paul.
Do we have to unmute
Paul?
Do
I have to there we go.
We'll get you unmuted, Paul, so you can chime in.
Thanks, guys. I just wanted to quickly say something in that same world. There's a default setting in CTM that turns all of the pre-written text blue. Turn that on, because sometimes the text is black, and every now and then we'll see contracts that come through and it's easy to overlook things. So that might be a small little nuance. Click the pre-written text to blue and it stands out in your offers.
That's great.
Yeah, and the other thing I recommend is go to the print preview version. So after you've typed it, don't just scroll back and forth through the manual screen. Do print preview, because yeah, then it opens up, one, the blue font, and two, you're more apt to see, oh, I forgot to put a none or an NA, or oh, I missed that deadline, or I didn't even check that checkbox. It makes it a little clearer and cleaner to see. So that's kind of been my little trick. Personally, that's always worked really well for me. So
yeah, good.
Thank you, Paul, for that addition. Because yeah, the blue font, I don't know what I would do without the blue font. Yeah, I've had that set up for a while. Works really great. So segueing into electronic contracts, Tip number 14 is use CTME. I mean, there's .loop, which we give you for free being part of Equity. There's other contract software programs out there, but CTM is what is widely used in Colorado. It integrates really, really well. And most agents who are used to using CTM love seeing another CTM user.
Which I think 95% of our agents use, but yeah. If you're new or coming from a company that was using .loop, like I said, we offer .loop, but we all know that CTM is just what we use here in Colorado.
Yeah. And so again, we're just trying to give you these little things that make you rise above that you might not be thinking of. Really, someone's going to accept my buyer's offer because I use CTM over .loop? Possibly. So number 15.
Upper division.
This is upper division. So
this is bonus.
We're going to segue. I'll let you show the screenshot of this because we do have a little CYA on here for you guys. So these are the upper division strategies that require counseling to the buyer first. You don't just throw these into play without explaining the pros and cons. For example, waiving the inspection objection and inspection resolution milestones. You may have a buyer that says, I'm confident enough in this property that I am not going to object and ask the seller to repair anything. I merely want an inspection termination deadline, which allows me to do an inspection. And if I find out that there's structural issues with the home that are going to cost me $30,000, I can terminate rather than asking for a remedy. This communicates to the seller that you're not going to nickel and dime them on all these little cosmetic or convenience items. This has been really powerful in the spring selling season when you are up against 10, 15 other offers. Those that are waiving that inspection objection and inspection resolutions are typically the ones that are rising to the top. Again, that requires counseling. Offering an appraisal gap.
And again, we have videos on this. This is going over this quickly for you.
Yep.
So yeah, if you're like, oh, I really want to learn more, we have the videos on this on YouTube.
Yeah. So appraisal gap is something that we're still seeing a lot in the marketplace. Anytime you're offering over asking price, you better be willing to put your money where your mouth is and say, yes, I'm willing to bridge that gap in the event that the home doesn't appraise for what I offered on. But again, you need to go through those pros and cons with the buyer, because if it doesn't appraise and then they have to bring $20,000 to closing and they don't fully understand what that means or what that looks like, and that they can't terminate on appraisal because now they said they do 20,000 extra, that can lead to some. Yeah.
Just make sure they're highly educated on this and that you're highly educated
on how it
especially works. This next one. And this is where we have said a conventional offer can be as strong as cash by waiving the appraisal objection and the appraisal resolution milestones, meaning there's no date in there. Yes, the lender's still going to do an appraisal. It doesn't have to be in the contract, though. The contract's between you and the seller and the ways that you can get out of the transaction and take your earnest money with you. By waiving this,
you're saying,
I'm buying the house.
Buying the house.
I'm buying the house. Whatever it appraises at. I don't care. I'm buying the house. I have sufficient funds to close on it. What happens if they don't? What happens if they back out?
Worst thing that's going to happen, lose earnest money. That's always the worst thing that happens. If you ever have a buyer that says, I've changed my mind, and Paul and I always like this one, someone will call in and say, my buyer got cold feet. And we say, there is not a cold feet checkbox on the notice to terminate. So did they get cold feet because of an inspection item that came up? I mean,
yeah, that was their loan not what they expected.
Exactly.
Can we tie it in with something or not?
But worst case scenario, 2 days before closing, buyer says, I'm moving to Tahiti. I ain't buying this house in Colorado. Worst thing that happens, they lose their earnest money.
So again, by being a listing agent and seeing someone who is maybe getting rid of a lot of contingencies, not having appraisals and stuff, and then when they come in with a $5,000 earnest money, they don't have a lot to risk.
Not a lot of skin in the
game.
It
looks really good, but is it? It's like the last $5,000 if it's a $800,000 house and they just want to get in and be the best offer, and then they just decide to back out. $5,000's not going to hold anyone's feet to the fire. $25,000, that might hold somebody's feet to the fire. So got to have these together.
Paying for HOA status letters and HOA transfer fees. This is one that I used with a lot of different buyers. Sometimes their buyers are purchasing homes in HOAs that have multiple HOAs. Like for example, Saddlerock helped a client out there, and there were 3 HOAs. They all charged a $200 HOA transfer fee. They all charged money for their covenants. And so the buyer said, you know what, I'm going to absorb this $1,200 fee. And the seller was thrilled.
That's funny. I mean, it's just, you could have put a more expensive home. I mean, more expensive
a higher priced offer.
We'll give you, but you know, when you take away a fee that you don't want to pay, you know, we all have these little fees in life that, no, I don't like having to pay that. And you tell someone you don't have to pay that. I'll cover that. It's like, oh, it just feels good. Even if you put it on the front side and said, hey, we're coming in with a great offer. So you know, to help you absorb all those other little costs you start taking those little costs away from people, and it just feels good.
Plus, it's something you can do to differentiate yourself, because most of the time other people aren't putting that in their offer. So not only do you have a strong offer price, but you've got a doubled earnest money. You're paying HOA status letter fees. And it's just like, wow, these people really want this place. I mean, it just shows you're thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
So
for the Buffini people, it's the stacking effect.
Exactly.
For one thing, this is really good. So yeah.
Versus just blowing everyone out of the water with an offer $150,000 over, which does get the seller's attention. But there's a lot of other things you can do too. Escalation clauses, we are still seeing those utilized. Maybe I'll have you pull up the slide, because we actually do have the language in here for those of you that want to see our appraisal gap language, our escalation clause language. We did do an entire Tuesday talk on escalation clauses and why we like them and why we don't. So we won't hash that over today, but if you do want to use an escalation clause, we do have the attorney written language, which you can put in your contracts in the additional provisions section. So those are still working.
I don't love them.
I know.
Don't love them.
I know. But if you have a buyer that wants to use an escalation clause,
there it is.
You've got it.
In the event the appraisal comes in lower than the purchase price,
that's actually the appraisal gap language.
Oh, yeah,
we've got it twice. Oh. That's right. We'll get the appraisal clause language in there.
We will have it right for you guys when we send it out to you.
Yeah. So let's see, coming down the home stretch, I've just got
some fun ones.
Some fun stuff. Yeah. So silly but fun. So these are actually incentives that I've seen buyers write.
We didn't make these up.
We didn't make these up. These are actually things that have come in on some of my listings, or things that you guys have shared with me that you're either doing or you've seen come in on your properties as well. So that you will provide the seller with a case of their favorite wine at closing. 12 bottles, you pick them out, I'll bring it. Not before closing, but to closing. So that's a fun one. I also had a client that noticed the basement of the seller's house had a lot of Red Rocks photos. They were very avid concert goers. They had their old ticket stubs, things like that, lots of pictures. So the offer was written with 2 concert tickets, Red Rocks. You choose the artist, we'll buy you the tickets. So that was kind of a fun, personalized one. $150 gift card to a restaurant of your choice. Go celebrate the sale of your house. A year's supply. I love this one.
Yeah, I remember
year's supply of tacos from your favorite Mexican restaurant.
Who was that? Do you remember?
I do remember.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. This one was really great with the pandemic and might still actually be worthwhile. 15 complimentary hours of in-home childcare. How many parents with 3 children at home while they're trying to work and do a Zoom call would love for someone who has CPR training, AED training, first aid to come in and watch their kids?
That's fun.
You might think about that. And the last one is the one that an equity agent is actually utilizing. 1 Rocky Mountain chocolate Kahlua cake to each the seller and seller's agent.
Oh, and the agent.
And the agent. Yeah, exactly. So those are just some fun things you can put in your additional provisions if you have a buyer that says, I want to incentivize the seller above and beyond. And we'll wrap up with one tip that you may not be seeing on this list, and we want to tell you why.
So why isn't a love letter on our list? And I know we have done this a lot, and most of you are like, oh yeah, we don't do that. But just way, way too many issues between a buyer and a seller where they could be.
And let's real quick preference for those of you that don't know what a love letter is. When a buyer writes an offer, they write a letter to the seller, and it talks about all the things they love about the house and love about the neighborhood. Now they can see raising their kids and their dog, and we love this and we love that. And they submit it with the offer. It's to tug at the heartstrings of the seller, to have them make an emotional decision above and beyond what's actually been written in that offer. So
yeah, and just too many ways that you could get in trouble with fair housing. I mean, just what you just said, that sounded great. I mean, our examples that we did at the mandatory update this year, you know, very blatant. Oh, I love that it's very close to my, you know, church. But Stacy just said our kids and our, what about the single mom, the single person, female, male, no kids? Did we just discriminate them because we want to see a family living in that? There's just too many ways that could come up. The only way you could do one is if all you spoke about was the house. And not the kitchen. I can feel the breeze come through from the backyard, and I like the way that you have your landscaping done.
The vaulted ceilings are very light and bright.
You start talking about the buyer or the buyers or how they're going to live or who's going to.
Yeah, and most of the time these love letters include photos of the kids, photos of people hiking 14ers. We noticed you have a 14er picture on the wall. We've done that one too. You're trying to create a commonality, and we just...
Oh, it's a military family. Oh, great. We're not discriminating against the military family. I want the military family now. Yeah, what about the people that didn't get the house that are, again, maybe a protected class, and they're like, you went. So that's why that is not a tip. It's a tip not to do them.
Yeah.
We do not allow those.
Don't do love letters. We don't want to see them.
A chat question. Let's see, what was the question here? I had a seller ask for a love letter from my buyer. Is it okay for the buyer to submit one? No. No. I mean, again, with the caveat, if they can submit a letter talking only about the house, but if they talk about themselves.
If your seller's trying to dig to find out what kind of person is going to be living in their property, then no.
Yeah. And fair housing is not about the agents. It goes to the buyers and the sellers. The seller can be violating fair housing. It's a federal offense. The seller cannot select somebody or not select somebody based upon any of the. Nope, we don't do it.
And so how does this unravel? Someone files a complaint. If a buyer doesn't get the home and they find out, or they have information that may lead them to believe that they were discriminated, they file a complaint.
Yeah, I found out that a family of 4 moved in here, and I'm a single female, and I didn't get it because, and I had a better offer. My agent even heard from that agent.
Yeah, and you find out that there was a love letter, and you got a copy of that love letter, and so
and I have had people say, well, that's a license law. That's this is not license law. This is federal law. It's anti-discrimination. Can't do it. And there are so many protected classes. You just don't want to go down that road.
So
awesome.
Hopefully those tips helped.
Good. What do we got next? And any questions, feel free to chime in. Oh, Q&A.
Yeah, so any questions on this subject, or maybe something that you've been curious about in the market or business practices. If any of you on Zoom have questions and you'd like to chime in, go ahead and do the hand raise and we'll bring you up live. Otherwise, our Facebook Live watchers, you can type in the comment section. And we can roll through some of our upcoming classes while we wait for people to formulate those questions. Again, we want to address anything that maybe you guys haven't called into the support line for, that's just kind of a generic, how do I do this, or what's being seen in the marketplace for that. That would be a great opportunity for us to hit those.
So upcoming event,
So yeah, just quick review. Next Monday, September 13th, we kick off our Optimal Living course. It's a 6-part series every other Monday for 12 weeks. And this Thursday is the RSVP cutoff. You do have to RSVP for this class because we're going to be sending out the Zoom link, sending out materials that you're going to need for the class on Friday. So please RSVP to Paul. His email address is at the bottom of your screen to get on that list. And then Friday, check your email because you will be getting an email directly from me. If you don't see that on Friday and you have RSVP'd, please reach out to me because otherwise you won't have the materials you need for Monday. Next class. So we have in-house lender Amir Razi with Own Home Loans teaching a condo lending, what realtors should know class. It's going to be on Wednesday, September 15th at 10 a.m. Again, RSVP to Paul. It is via Zoom. And he's going to cover a lot of the things that pertain to condo lending, whether it's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, litigation. That seems to be the #1 question. How do we finance a condo that's in litigation? So he's going to talk about those different things, warrantable condos versus non-warrantable. It'll be a really good class. Of course, these are all complimentary.
Excellent.
And then I believe Sana is going to be doing a title insurance 101. There are a lot of you that are saying,
We've had a lot of
I
people ask for
don't
this.
know what to even look for in a title commitment. When a title commitment comes across my email, what do I do? What are the red flags? How do I even know what I should be educating my buyers or sellers on? So we've got Sana teaching a virtual class via Zoom on September 22nd, and she'll go over those basics of how to read a title commitment, what to be mindful of, and how to communicate and articulate that information to your clients. So that'll be a really good one. And then we've got Sana along with Brianna from Own Home Loans tag teaming on a roundtable, Basics of Social Media. So that will be on Tuesday, September 14th at 10 a.m. It's going to be streamed to the Equity Facebook group. And so they're going to help you with guidance on setting up business Facebook pages, how to leverage social media platforms, and things of that nature.
Awesome. That's a new chapter.
Looks like we might have a question, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. On the second Tuesday of every month. Oh, so is the roundtable, Paul? I'm guessing you're saying that's going to happen on the second Tuesday of every month. So this is going to be an ongoing class. I like that even better. Oh, that's exciting. Did I get that right? Paul? Awesome. Okay.
Can you talk, Paul? Or do I still have you like?
Just click on his little name and unmute him. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it seems like it defaults. It mutes me after so many minutes.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, but those are going to be every second Tuesday of every month. They're pretty excited about those with new topics each month.
Okay, perfect.
And that's here, yeah, at the DTC office in the conference room.
Okay, so that'll be an in-person class, and then they'll also live stream it to Facebook for those that want to watch virtually.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Perfect. I like it. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate you.
Yeah, of course.
And then
I think we do have one more class that will be coming up next month, and that's going to be a 1031 exchange class. We are starting to see more investors sell off properties, buy other properties. So we are going to do, next slide. Oh, I guess not. A 1031 exchange class, and I'm wanting to say that's October 27th. That's a Wednesday. It will be virtual as well. So that'll be a good class if you're wanting to know how does 1031 exchange work and what are the processes for that so that you can educate your buyers. I think that's it for classes. Let's check questions.
Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Please chime in. I'm not seeing any on my end. We don't have any from our chat.
Not up here? Nope.
Nope. All right. Well, let's dive into our Power Pros for August. There's a lot of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys rocked it. I think we did 133. I think it was 133 transactions last month. I mean, that's a huge month, especially in the month of August. Usually that kind of dips down a little bit.
We're usually winding down from the summer. So yeah, you guys had an incredible August.
So again, we'll be sending out your certificates to you directly. So congratulations, everyone. Woo, we'll run through the names here.
You're gonna have to scoot this
up a little bit so I can see the names. Most transactions though, Janet Romero, nice job with 5 transactions.
5 transactions.
Excellent, Janet. And then top sales agent with 2.66 million, Liliana Parra with 4 transactions, and then Derek Dannenbaugh with 4 transactions, Amy Randolph with 3, Tony Fortson with 3, Lori Sanders with 3, Melanie Sedelnik with 3, Eileen Kitko with 3, Blessed with 2, and so everyone else has 2 transactions. That makes you a Power Pro for the month. So we got Blessed, and then Caitlin, Justin, Joyce, Sunny, Allison, Mark, Crystal.
First time Power Pro.
Crystal,
I just have to throw
first
that
time.
out.
Congratulations.
Yep, great job, Crystal.
Vicky, David, Anna, Karina, Matthew, Greg, Darren.
First time Power
I was going to say, I think that's Darren's first time. Congratulations. Rocio, William, I'm like William. Bill, Stephanie, Kara, Mindy, Taylor, Midge, Ricky Lee, Christy, Jim, Norvin, Brianna, and Kathy.
And I'm wanting to, I don't know if this is Taylor's first time as a Power Pro. He's closed multiple transactions, but it may be. And for sure, Brianna, it was her first time as a Power Pro. So congratulations.
Wow, congratulations.
On that.
That's awesome. Yeah, you guys rocked it. I mean, that's just a huge month. Oops, sorry about that. So,
and we'll give a shout out to Norvin too.
I'm gonna say that might have been
I
Norvin's.
think that's Norvin's first time as a Power Pro as well. So I apologize if you have been a Power Pro one other month, but I think this was the first time.
Might have been.
Yeah.
So yeah, way to go, guys. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So if you have any new or coming soon listings,
please, I hope somebody has new listings. New listings were down 500 units from July to August. So we're almost back to our June inventory, which is like around 3,500 units. I mean, it's so low. So hopefully you guys have some new listings coming on the market that you want to promote. Let's go to our Zoom attendees.
Anyone?
Give us a hand raise. I'm pretty sure Julie has a new listing that she wants, and Karen, I think, has a new listing she wants to promote.
We'll start with, let me just allow. I thought I have this. I'll make you all just unmute. Julie, we'll start with you.
So you should be able to unmute yourself, Julie.
Got it. Thanks. Yes, I have a condo coming soon. It'll be going live most likely Friday for showings. It's in the Mountain Gate condo area of King Carroll Ranch. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, very well maintained, new carpet, new paint, new appliances in the kitchen. The seller is also including a 210 home warranty to the buyer. And there's a 1-car detached garage, which is pretty rare for that location. Price is gonna be in the low 3s. Just waiting to get confirmation from my seller on that. And I'll post on Facebook when we're good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Who did I see? Karen? Oh, Karen? Yeah, unmute you there, Karen.
Hi. I have one coming at 7486 Chase Street in Arvada off Sheridan. It's like right on the border of Westminster and Arvada. It is a 3-bedroom ranch, vaulted ceilings. Everything's been done. It's staged, new carpet, new siding, new windows, new roof, new AC and furnace. Like, it's ready to go. He's signing today. I think we're at 485. It'll go on Friday for this weekend. Finished basement, 2-car garage. Yard needs work. I will tell you, like, the yard does definitely need some work. But other than that, it looks good.
Excellent. And welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here. Anyone else? Let's see. We'll go to gallery.
Yeah. Anybody else got any listings? No. And then for those of you that are on Facebook Live, please do post your listing links, photos, descriptions of your properties on there. And yeah, that way we can all take a look at those upcoming listings.
So let's see. Bess, is it possible to get a copy of the live stream if you're not available on those dates? If you RSVP, I'm guessing you're talking about
Sana and Brianna's class, maybe?
Yeah.
Well, if we're live streaming to the Equity Facebook group, it should go ahead and put it into the Facebook newsfeed. Yeah. And so if you scroll down later that day or the following day, you'll still be able to see it.
Yep. So excellent.
So yeah.
Okay. Oh, she's talking about optimal.
Oh,
living.
Optimal Living. We are not doing a live stream to Facebook for that.
Yeah, but she was asking for recording. If you RSVP, and if you can't make one, we'll send it to you, but you have to still RSVP so that we know you're committed. And if you can't ever attend them, and you're just going to watch them, wait till we do it again.
Yeah, it's not a class to watch on your own.
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's the participation. It's like doing Buffini by yourself.
You'll get more out of it if you can participate live. But if you do have a closing or a home inspection, or obviously work gets in the way, we want that for you. We'll definitely make sure that you get a copy of the video. So yes, please do RSVP. Any other questions, guys?
I think we're good.
I think we covered it all.
Awesome. I think we're on time.
This is like the first time we've gotten done on time. I usually get a little long-winded in my presentation.
I think we're right there. So perfect.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining us today.
Have a great rest of your week. And you need us, call us. We're here for you, and hope to see a lot of you guys on our Optimal Living next week. We're excited about it. It will be really good. So yeah, excited to do this for you guys.
All right. Have a great week, you guys. Thanks for joining us. Zoom me on Facebook. Bye.
Bye.